Welcome to another exciting episode of Musa and Show. Here is what we have today.
Sanibona, izolo sivuka ngeindaba ebezithi uFloyd Shivambu akaseyena uSecretary General womkhonto wesizwe party. Nomkhonto wesizwe party ukhipha ubhala ipost lapho bothi cha bona lokho abakwazi uFloyd uSecretary General. Izolo ke kunebene exclusive interview abenayo neNewsroom Africa. Sizokhuluma ngalo daba kodwa ngaphambi singene nje odabeni likaFloyd kunezinto ezibalekile engicabanga ukuthi kufuneka sidlule kuzo. Ngoba ukubheka le politiki eyenzakalayo sizonaka yona kakhulu sigcine singasayinakanga izinto ezithinta impilo zethu nezo affect impilo zethu. Ngikhuluma nje ngoba uminister wathebula ibudget iproposal ngomhla ka21 kuMay wayibeka ke njengoba njalo wayisethi kune fuel levy ezokhuphuka ibe ngo4% if I'm not mistaken efuneka ikhuphe ngomhla ka4 mhla ka4. So bekuloku kukhulunywa ke eParliament kodwa ke into eyenzekile iEFF ithatha igxathu lokuthi ngcono iye eWestern Cape High Court iyozama ukunqanda lento enziwa uminister ngoba ithi uminister akanalo ilungelo lokuvela khuphule nje fuel levy. Funeka alandele iprocedure neprotocol ngokweParliament. So into ezingicanga ukuthi zibalekile ngoba ekugcineni kosuku sesizikhulumile zonke lezi ezinye izinto funeka sizazi lezi ezibalekile. And angeke ngikwazi ukwenza ama-video amaningi ngenza ivideo ezobe ikhuluma ngalokho ngiphinde ngenza ivideo le and futhi okunye engiqaphelile thina siconcern kakhulu ngeindaba lezi ezimgosi nanani kunanokunaka kakhulu lezi zinto ezithinta impilo zethu. Ingakho ngithi noma ngizokhuluma ngodaba lika Floyd kodwa siyifake ngoba ibalekile. Sizocaphuna ubaba uBrian Molefe naye kukhona kuphawulile njengoba bekune meeting kodwa umuntu esomcaphuna kakhulu uTreasurer General weEFF okuOmphile Mouth ngoba uyena umuntu othatha igxathu obelokho ekhuluma ngale fuel levy noma bekhulumela beMK but kodwa uyena umuntu ovocal kakhulu ekukhulumeni ngefuel levy nomthelela wayo. Ngiyakhumbula ukuthi last week Friday ngesikhathi behleli kwi-meeting babefakazela ukuthi uqinisile uOmphile Mouth kulento ayishoyo. So yingakho ngithi ngizomcaphuna yena futhi ibona abathatha igxathu lokuya eWestern Cape High Court. Ngicela uzwe la.
Yes, indeed, we filed the papers interdicting the minister from increasing or effecting the increase on the fuel levy on the 4th of June because the minister has got no powers to introduce a national tax through a gazette, a government gazette, or a notice thereof. So when you do a notice, it's when you regulate a behavior, but not when you introduce a national tax. Even worse, the tax of general application to everybody, rich or poor, wealthy or not. So the minister knows very well that the constitution of the country, section 77, is clear that any national tax that gets to be introduced needs to follow the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Matters Act, which he knows with what he's trying to do now. He's acting unlawfully, illegally, unconstitutionally, and procedurally flawed. So this morning, because we've written to the minister, if you remember, on Monday, the 26th of May, asking him to retract and withdraw the fuel levy increase announcement. To this date, we have not received any response from the minister except acknowledgement of receipt of our letter. So our letter was very clear that we're giving the minister 48 hours to respond. And the minister has not done that.
Yeah.
And what is more worrisome is that Parliament is continuing with its legal process, which is now we're doing public stakeholder participation, which will end. And on the 3rd and 4th of June, when the fuel levy would have been already increased, we'll be debating and working on the report of the minister that he had tabled to either amend it or approve it as it is. So it's unlawful. He doesn't have the powers. That power lies with legislature, which is us, members of parliament.
Cabanga ukuthi asikho isidingo sokuthi ngifaka amaphepha lawa secourt abawafayilile ngoba useyichazile uTreasurer General igxathu abalithathe nanokuthi kungani bekuthathele igxathu. Ingakho ngithe angiqale ngale ndaba ngoba ibalulekile, ngoba noma yini ezodecidewa izo-affect iy'mpilo zethu. Ilento esasiyikhuluma nangesikhathi se-VAT. Futhi ngiyafisa ukukhumbuza lokhu kubantu base-South Africa ababevotela i-EFF, abasebeluza ithemba kuyo ngezathu ezehlukene zabo. Nakubantu nje base-South Africa abangavoti sidalo ukuthi asisukumeni sonke makuyovotwa, senze isiqiniseko sokuthi i-EFF ayiphumi ephalamende. Kunokuthi ithole less than 9% enawo, ayithole more than lokho, ngoba i-role eyidlalayo ingaphezu kokucabanga kwethu. So nje awukucabanga nje ukuthi ukuba i-EFF ayikho, ngabe obani abakhuluma lezi zinto. I-DA namhlanje ithule ngoba i-budget ilento bona abayifunayo, kodwa i-EFF ivocal ekuthenini i-fuel levy asingayivumeli ukuthi ikhuphuke. Kuningi-ke abangakusho, kodwa nje ngifisa ukuthi kubantu abangavoti sidalo, kunokuthi uhlale ungavoti sukuma kuyovotela i-EFF. Angeke mina ngisho ukuthi ivotelane, kodwa engikushoyo ukuthi asingavumi ukuthi i-EFF ingabi ingxenye yephalamende. So ngigqugqumezela kakhulu abantu laba sebephelelwe ithemba, basebedecide ukuthi cha bona abavoti, nalabo abangakaze bavota nje empilweni yabo abasukume bayovota, benze sure ukuthi ngoba inhloso yethu enkulu nesifiso sethu esikhulu akuphumi i-ANC emandleni. Asenzeni sure ukuthi sivotela amanye ama-political parties, ANC ingawathola amandla. Awukucabange nje ukuba i-ANC ne-majority ngabe i-VAT u-17%. Asiqhubeke.
Thank you, Chair. My first question is for Heineken. Heineken talked about illicit alcohol. How is this defined? What is illicit alcohol? Is it the concoctions that people make, or is it just a false rebranding of alcohol? And what is the extent or estimation of revenue losses to the fiscus due to illicit alcohol? And what can SARS do to close this gap? My second set of questions is to Saika. Saika raises a very interesting point of budget 3.0 or budget 2.5, which means, is this a new budget or is it a continuation of budget 2.0? It's a very interesting thing because, Chair, as you remember, the court set aside the fiscal framework of budget 2.0. And the minister in his speeches said that the budget process must start de novo. So in SARS's professional interpretation, has this budget process started de novo? What has been the effect from an auditing perspective, the effect of whether budget 2.0 was set aside and 3.0 commenced, or whether we just continued with 2.0 despite the fact that the court had set aside 2.0 and the minister has said that it would start de novo. And then in terms of broader accountability in the budget process and in the budget, what would SAICA like to see changing, given earlier comments that the proposals from this process are put aside as soon as this meeting is over and are totally ignored, as were the VAT increases ignored. And Chair, my questions to IEJ. The IEJ notes that the generation of revenue is focused on getting more money from the poor. And this is should be an issue, a justice issue, really. And what does IEJ feel that what remedies are available to the poor to resist this latent tendency to raise revenue from the poor? And the IEJ also recommended prescribed assets. Which instruments really does the IEJ recommend that should be prescribed? I mean, which government instruments? Is it government bonds, or is it specific types of bonds, or is it other instruments that the IEJ has in mind? And also from the justice point of view, what is the remedy for national treasuries ignoring the High Court ruling relating to the 10 million people, and what can Parliament do to assist in this respect? Does IEJ intend to do anything about it? What do they recommend that the parliament should do? The regressivity of fuel levy as a justice issue. What can poor people do in the face of National Treasury ignoring the overwhelming majority in recommendations from their public participation process? The IEJ also says the Reserve Bank should finance infrastructure. What instruments should the Reserve Bank use to finance this infrastructure? And they also say in their recommendations that DFIs should be leveraged to invest in more critical economic infrastructure. How should this leverage be achieved? Will it be achieved by fiscal transfers, or how do they see this leveraging happening? The AIDC raises an important and an interesting issue of non-interest expenditure not matched by the reduction in non-interest expenditure not being matched by the reduction in debt servicing costs. How does AIDC propose to resolve this dichotomous situation and the futility of Operation Vola in the face of increasing international protectionism? Can you please elaborate on that statement that Operation Vola may be futile in the face of international protectionism? SAB, for AIDC as well, how much can be collected from GPF or from the wealth tax? So because there were clear recommendations that the GPF either a contribution holiday or using of the surplus of the GPF. How much does AIDC think can be collected from these, and how much can be collected from wealth tax? And then for transformative economic progress to take place, AIDC says, the World Bank says that we need more than 3% economic growth for this to happen. Is this achievable? And does AIDC think this is achievable? And if it were to be achieved, what would need to be done? The South African Breweries has noted that the drop in marginal revenue in additional excise tax. There is a decrease. The marginal revenue decreases as excise from the marginal additional revenue decreases as excise tax is increased. So my question to SAB is, what is the optimum excise tax that can be levied which maximizes the marginal revenue or additional revenue? So at which point are we in equilibrium on the marginal revenue curve for excise tax increases? And then COSATU, what is COSATU's attitude towards the current privatization drive by government and the National Treasury disguised as PPPs and the vertical separation of certain SOEs? And what is COSATU's position on the fuel levy, especially given its regressive nature? And what are COSATU proposals on the increasing municipal debt, especially to Eskom? What can be done to stop this process? Thank you very
Njengoba tuzwa-ke ubaba uBrian Molefe naye ebeka lokho abekubeka, kodwa futhi okunye okubalulekile nokuhamba phambili okushiwo uOmphile Mauti ukuthi bayawabeka ama-recommendations ukuthi cha nakho ongakwenza minister ukuze uraise ama-revenues ukuze usubstitute indaba ye-VAT kunama-proposal aproposwa o-Action SA, o-BOSA nawonke lama-political parties ababebambisane nawo. Namanje futhi EFF ivele nama-proposal ethi introduce i-wealth tax ne-apartheid tax ku-tax lama-trust akhandwa kulabantu labantu abangama-beneficiaries once off. Iningi imali futhi abangakwazi ukuyiraise. Okunye futhi abakuveza ukuthi i-corporate tax yayiwu 29%. ugovernment yena lo ANC wayehliswa ibeke yaba u27%. Bethi no, akayibuyisele ku29% kunokuthi acindezele abantu abahluphekile. Kodwa kuminister nje obeshilo uOmphile ukuthi akayingeni. Uyawezwa nje ama recommendations. Into azovela nayo yathi nje yena uzawubhekile zonke indawo la ngasabheke khona akafuthi akaboni ukuthi imali uzoyithola phi. Noma ama recommendations bowalethe wa-ignore. Yingakho ngithi asiqale kule ndaba sibuyele kodabeni kaFloyd. Siza ukuthi uthene noma bembuza mayelana nale letter ebicirculator ekhuluma ngayo ukuthi akasesiyimember omkhonto wesizwe party. No, ukuthi useyimember kodwa akaseyona uSecretary General. Ngicela uzwe la.
No, look, when I did not renew my membership of the EFF and then I joined Umkhonto weSizwe, in the early stages, I actually had posted on social media to say that this is the best decision I have ever taken politically, and I still stick by that joining Umkhonto weSizwe is the best decision that I've ever taken in my political life, because I got to learn from the rich experience of President Zuma and many other leaders of Umkhonto weSizwe. I got to even have a much more nuanced understanding of the politics of South Africa, of the continent, and the world, and of course enrich out of a broadly theoretical perspective which we had before. I think it was a necessary and a better, far much more qualitative decision that we took to participate in Umkhonto weSizwe, and we continue to learn and be guided by President Zuma, who deeply understands our people and is in constant communication and touch with ordinary people in many parts of South Africa, but also has got a proper and correct appreciation of what is happening in the continent, in the African diaspora, and in the progressive world. So it's so far so good in terms of Umkhonto weSizwe.
So with all those letters flying around, that you've been removed, or that you are possibly resigning, let's clarify that. Are you leaving, or have you been told that any moment from now you could be removed as Secretary General of the Umkhonto weSizwe Party?
So I'm Secretary General of Umkhonto weSizwe now. Yeah. There is no letter which was written by the president, because there have been people, we don't know where they're from now, whether they're from inside the MK or it's external forces that are trying to sow divisions within the organization, who write fake letters.
With your letterhead?
In the name, yes, they've been doing that. But actually,
where do they get that? It sounds like it's coming from inside.
So to show that there's a possibility that it may be external forces. So inside Umkhonto weSizwe, everyone else knows that the logo of Umkhonto weSizwe has to have a gold circle around it.
Right.
But the fake letters have not been having a letterhead with a gold circle, and it has never been used anywhere else. So all the logos of the letterheads of Umkhonto weSizwe have had gold circle, but the ones that are fake letters, almost all of them have had either a black or a white circle around the logo of the organization. And the other thing is that I'll never resign from Umkhonto weSizwe.
Never.
Even if I'm not in any of its leadership structures. I did not join Umkhonto weSizwe to lead it. I joined Umkhonto weSizwe to be a member, to campaign for its ideals and a program and vision, because
ngoba umuzwa kuFloyd ezikhulumela yena esho futhi ukuthi yena ngeke aresign kumkhonto wesizwe party, futhi usenguye uSecretary General, nanokuthi ke neletha lena ebiphumile beyifake. Ya ilokho akushilo lapha kwi-exclusive interview abenayo ne-Newsroom Africa. Iphathi engifuna ukuyicaphuna manje engicanga ukuthi iphathi yokugcina engifisa ukuthi akhulume ngayo indaba ye-tribalism. Siyakhumbula ukuthi mayiqala ejoin umkhonto wesizwe party abantu abanjengoba uPrince Mashele bavela bathi hayi leya political party leya eyamaZulu ngoba ibase KZN. No siyasiwa kokusho lokwathi hayi leya political party yamaZulu ngeke izikhule beyond kwaZulu Natal. So ngifisa ukuthi simuze ukuthi utheni ke ngendaba ye-tribalism ngoba iyona into endawo engicanga ukuthi ibalekile. Nongizwe Mchunu futhi wenza ivideo wamtshela wathi Floyd kwaZulu lapha ya ungacabanga ukuthi sizozwa ngawe noma uzoziphatha kukwaZulu, wamkhumbuza ikakhulukazi ke thina esaziyo ukuthi abantu abangamashangana the way batreatwa ngakhona emabe treatwa abantu abangamaZulu. So uFloyd umshangane ngapha use KZN, uphethe abantu base KZN. So yonke into evela khona vela tribalism. So sifisa ukuzwa ukuthi yena ngesingayo useke wayi experience na. Kodwa engingakusho kuma ground forces so far kuma videos wabuka esibukela kude ayikho lonto bamemukele nje njengo secretary general we political party yabo. Abamcwasi ngokuthi umshangane uyini, kodwa nje ngifisa ukuthi sizwe ngayo ukuthi yena ngesingayobona kanjani bese siyayivala ivideo emveni kwalapho.
Actually, I've never had any encounter of tribalism.
From your rank and file?
No, I have never. From rank and file, from the leadership of Umkhonto weSizwe, I've never got to have such an encounter.
You would say then that you have the respect of the rank and file, but do you also have the same in the leadership structures, i.e. what's your relationship with Duduzile Zuma now? We only got to experience what took place on social media, but like you keep saying, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Are you okay? We've seen you at events together since then, so what's it like now?
There's never been any hostility, and there's never been any political difference that I'm aware of. Like, because whenever we interact, it's my sister, my brother, is everything is going well. That has been a consistent relationship since I joined Umkhonto weSizwe.
Ngokusho kaFloyd ke akaze na experience tribalism noma esenkabeni kwaZulu Natal, kodwa nje akakaze I experience tribalism, futhi uthi kwi leadership nakubantu nje emphakathini wefike emukeleka kahle kahle kakhulu. Base bembuza ngemibuzo obalekile kakhulu obudlelwane bakhe noDuduzile Zuma. Siyakhumbula ukuthi emveni koDuduzile Zuma emthukile ku X yaziwa ngeTwitter, kwathiwa kuzoba disciplinary hearing. Ukukhuluma nalo kodwa nje angifuna ngokufaka la, kodwa babuza ukuthi ubudlelwane bakhe ke noDuduzile bunjani ngoba sike sababona bendawonye. Ngazi uJacob Zuma wayeseNamibia nalabo babendawonye khona uFloyd noDuduzile. So ukhuluma ukuthi yena ngokwazi kwakhe nje abakaze baba nenkinga phandle kwalo amuntu yabhala uDuduzile sesikhathi, kodwa nje namanje basabingelelana uma behlangana babuzana impilo. Akukho angathi uyakwazi awe ngakho. Ilokhu kokusho uFloyd Shivambu okusho ukuthi mhlambe ke bayilungisile ke inkinga zabo nokungaboni ngasolinye kwabo, mhlambe bakulungisile asazi ke. Kodwa phela njengomuntu omele ipolitical party futhi ongafuni ukuthi asiphe nathi ama headlines no ufune kuvikela isithunzi, mhlawumbe uyasho nje ngoba evikela isithunzi seqembu asazi. Kodwa nje sithatha lokho akushilo kwamanje sizobona ngabo kuhamba kwesikhathi. Kodwa nje iphathe bengifisa ukuthi uFloyd ayiveze ukuthi yena so far akakayi experience indaba ye tribalism. Ngicela sibambe la le video, ngiyafisa ukuzwa ukuphawula kwakho kulezi indaba zombili ngoba bengithe noma sizokhuluma indaba kaFloyd kodwa sidlule kule ngoba igcineni kosuku izothinta impilo zethu. Uma ngathiwa kunyuka upetrol ngempela yonke into izobibizela thina sonke, so kufanele sinake. Futhi ngathi kubantu bakithi asingavumeli ukuthi iEFF iphume eParliament ngoba ineqhaza elikhulu elibambile, futhi asenzeni isiqiniseko sokuthi iyaphuma iANC emandleni. Ilokho nje mina engikushoyo, anginandaba ukuthi kuphatha abantu, kodwa masingenza isiqiniseko sokuthi asiyivoteli iANC ngabe senze omkhulu umsebenzi, ngabe senze umsebenzi omkhulu. Leso sinqomo leso sobe singasenzeli thina, sobe senzela thina izwe lethu, zingane zethu, sobe senza isinqumo esobe senzela isizwe uma singayivotelanga iANC, uma senze sure ukuthi ayibusi iANC. Ngale kwalokho mina nawe sidibane kwivideo elandelayo. Ngiyabonga.